The carbohydrate amount of a mouse is about 8% on a dry matter basis. But with dry food, it's about 33%. That's the average that I found among 80 different brands. The highest I saw was 49%. So it could be up to half the amount of food is carbohydrates. And no, cats do not require carbohydrates. In fact, if you look at the NRC, if you look at AAFCO and FEDIAF guidelines for nutritional guidelines, which pet food manufacturers have to abide by when they create pet food products, they don't list a requirement for carbohydrates. So that just proves that it isn't essential to the cat's diet. If it was, then they would have a minimum and maximum amount of carbohydrates that pet food manufacturers had to add. But cats don't use carbohydrates for energy. They use animal-based fat and protein as a source of energy. And carbohydrates really just fuel hunger and weight gain. And when carbohydrates break down in the body, they break down into sugar and they're stored in the body as fat. So again, the cats don't utilize carbs as a source of energy. It just gets stored in the body as fat. That's why a lot of cats that eat dry food typically end up gaining weight, because with these flavor enhancer palatants, the low meat-based protein in the product, high carbohydrates in the product, the cat has to eat more of it for it to actually be nutritious. So this encourages the cat to overeat, and the more the cat eats, the less satisfied he feels because he's not getting the proper nutrition that his body needs. And these carbohydrates breaking down into sugar just wreaks havoc on the pancreas and also insulin production. Another reason right here is overweight cats that eat dry food typically develop diabetes. And there's a veterinarian, Dr. Elizabeth Hodgkins, that owns a patent in which she treats diabetic cats. So she switches them from a high carb, low meat based protein and a low moisture dry food to a more appropriate high meat based protein, low carb and high moisture wet or raw diet. And all of these cats have improved. And even in 2 instances, the cats went into remission, so they no longer relied on insulin after they were switched to the appropriate meat-based diet. And in 2 different instances, this was Dr. Hodgkins' personal cat that she boarded. They ended up feeding her dry food while she was away. And there was also a clinic cat that lived there. They adopted her out and they fed the cat dry food, and diabetes returned in both instances. So the diabetes disappeared. The cats no longer needed insulin because they were eating an appropriate meat-based, high moisture, low carb diet. But then when they returned to eating dry food, which is high in carbs, low in meat-based protein, and low in moisture, diabetes returned and the cats needed insulin again. And in both cases, Dr. Hodgkins went back to the appropriate meat-based diet, and both of the cats went into remission again and no longer needed insulin. Now, I hear you saying my cat won't eat anything but dry food. I've tried everything. I made a specific transition plan formulated for picky cats. You can check that out right over 𝐤𝐄𝐅. Thank you so much for watching.